Most people train for muscle growth completely wrong, and they don't even realize it. Every time you walk into a gym, lift a weight, or push through a hard set, something remarkable happens inside your body. But most people have the wrong idea about what that something actually is. They think the burn means it is working. They think the soreness the next morning is proof of progress. They think more pain equals more gain. The truth is far more precise, far more interesting, and honestly, far more useful than any of those assumptions. Muscle growth, which scientists call hypertrophy, is not about destroying your body and hoping it comes back bigger. It is about sending the right signal, then giving your body everything it needs to respond to that signal properly. The signal itself starts with mechanical tension. When a muscle fiber is placed under load, especially through a full range of motion, the fibers experience a kind of controlled stress. This stress activates a biological pathway involving a protein complex called mechanistic target of rapamycin, commonly known as mTOR. Think of mTOR as the master switch for muscle protein synthesis. When it gets activated, your body begins the process of building new muscle proteins, repairing damaged fibers, and ultimately making those fibers thicker and stronger than they were before. But here is where most people go wrong. They confuse the stimulus with the result. Lifting weights is only the stimulus. The actual growth happens later, during recovery, and only if you give your body what it needs to complete the job. Walk into any gym conversation, and you will hear someone say they had a great workout because they can barely walk the next day. Delayed onset muscle soreness, known as DOMS, has become a badge of honor in fitness culture. But the science tells a very different story. Soreness is primarily the result of inflammation and microdamage in the muscle tissue, particularly from eccentric movements, which are the lowering phase of any lift. When you lower a dumbbell slowly or walk down a steep hill, your muscles are lengthening under tension, which creates more mechanical disruption than the lifting phase. Your immune system responds by sending inflammatory signals to the area, and that inflammation is what you feel as soreness. Here is the critical point. That soreness is not a reliable indicator of muscle growth. Research has consistently shown that you can experience significant hypertrophy with very little soreness, and you can be devastatingly sore with minimal actual growth stimulus. Beginners get extremely sore because their connective tissue and nervous systems are not yet adapted to training. As you become more experienced, your body gets better at managing that inflammatory response, and soreness decreases. That does not mean your workouts stopped working. It means your body got smarter. Chasing soreness by constantly switching exercises, going heavier than your form allows, or training to the point of breakdown is not a growth strategy. It is a recovery tax. Every time you create excessive damage, your body has to spend precious resources just repairing the destruction before it can even begin the process of building something new. Smart training creates enough tension to trigger the growth signal without burying your recovery capacity under a mountain of unnecessary inflammation. And honestly, this is where a lot of people start realizing that muscle growth is not about destroying yourself in the gym every day. Recovery, mobility, and how your body functions outside the workout matter just as much as the workout itself. That's why a lot of people are starting to combine their training with simple metabolic stretching routines designed to support recovery, flexibility, circulation, and overall metabolic health without adding more stress to the body. If you want to check that out for yourself, I've linked it in the description below. Now that you understand what actually drives growth, the next question is, how often and how much you should train each muscle group? The answer comes down to something called effective volume, which refers to the number of sets per muscle group per week that actually contribute to the growth signal without exceeding your recovery capacity. Research suggests that most people see strong results training each muscle group somewhere between 2 and 4 times per week. This is because muscle protein synthesis, the actual building process, peaks within about 24 to 48 hours after training and then returns to baseline. If you only train a muscle once a week, you are leaving a lot of potential growth on the table. Training it more frequently keeps that synthesis elevated more consistently throughout the week. However, frequency without adequate recovery is just accumulated fatigue. The goal is to find the frequency that allows you to come back to each session feeling recovered enough to apply meaningful tension again. For most people, this means spreading your weekly volume across multiple sessions, rather than cramming everything into one brutal workout. 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week is a commonly cited range, but the right number for you depends on your training age, your recovery habits, and how well you manage the other variables outside the gym. Progressive overload is the other non-negotiable. Your muscles adapt to the demands placed on them. If those demands never increase, neither does the muscle. Adding weight, adding reps, improving range of motion, or reducing rest time are all ways of progressively challenging the muscle to keep the adaptation signal strong over time. If training is the signal and nutrition is the raw material, then sleep is the construction crew. Without adequate sleep, the entire process stalls. During deep sleep stages, your body releases the majority of its daily growth hormone, which plays a direct role in muscle repair and protein synthesis. Sleep deprivation, even just dropping from 8 hours to 6 hours for a few nights, measurably reduces muscle protein synthesis and increases levels of cortisol, a stress hormone that actively breaks down muscle tissue. Studies have shown that people who sleep less than 7 hours per night gain significantly less muscle from the same training program compared to those who sleep 8 or more hours. Sleep is also when your nervous system recovers. Training is neurologically demanding, and if your nervous system is not fully recovered, your ability to generate force and apply meaningful tension in your next session is compromised. You might show up to the gym, go through the motions, and feel like you trained hard, but the quality of the stimulus is lower than it would have been with proper rest. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is not optional if muscle growth is your goal. It is arguably the single highest leverage recovery habit available to you, and it costs nothing. Your muscles are made of protein. Specifically, they are made of proteins called actin and myosin, and building more of them requires a steady supply of amino acids, which come from the protein you eat. The current body of research supports consuming somewhere between 0.7 and 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day for people focused on muscle growth. Spreading that intake across 3 to 5 meals throughout the day appears to maximize muscle protein synthesis better than eating the same total amount in 1 or 2 large meals. This is because each meal creates a spike in amino acid availability, which triggers a fresh round of protein synthesis. The source of protein matters too, but perhaps less than people think. Animal proteins like eggs, chicken, beef, and dairy tend to have a more complete amino acid profile and are generally more efficiently used for muscle building. But plant-based proteins can absolutely support hypertrophy when consumed in sufficient variety and quantity. The post-workout window, once considered critical, is now understood to be less urgent than total daily intake. Getting enough protein across the day matters far more than obsessing over a shake within 30 minutes of your last set. Muscle growth is ultimately a slow, consistent process driven by mechanical tension applied regularly, supported by adequate protein, protected by quality sleep, and sustained by smart training frequency. The dramatic soreness, the extreme fatigue, the feeling of being wrecked after a session, none of that is the point. The point is the signal, the recovery, and the patience to let the biology do what it was designed to do. If this video changed the way you think about muscle growth, hit the like button so more people stop wasting time on bad fitness advice. And let me know in the comments, what surprised you the most? Was it the truth about soreness, recovery, sleep, or protein intake? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you want more science-backed videos on muscle growth, fat loss, recovery, and optimizing your body the smart way.